Lord, we thank you for this day, dear God. Lord, I pray for your healing touch beyond those in our community that's sick. And we pray, Lord, for peace and comfort for those who lost loved ones, dear Father. Lord, we pray for wisdom and knowledge tonight, dear God, that everything we do be for your glory for better in this county. And it's in Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please play, please.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I would ask if you have a cell phone, please put that on silent. The county legislative body will regular session on today's date, which is Monday, January 24th. The following items of business will be considered. Number one, roll call.
Terry Ford. Taylor Blazer. Here. Clay Blazer.
Here.
Norman Smith.
Here.
Terry Dawson.
Here.
Johnson Miles. Jeff Esslinger.
Here.
Dan Wright.
Here.
Casey Gillum.
Here.
Forrest Clevenger.
Here.
David Verdall. Kyle Schutay.
Here.
And Gary Carter.
Here.
Thank you.
So next we have an approval of last month's minutes. Do I have a motion to accept those? A motion from Ms. Blazer and a second from Commissioner Gillum. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. That motion carries. In the matter of elections, appointments, and reports, the following notaries to be accepted: Kevin Packwood and Dennis Thornton. Do I have a motion to accept those? A motion from Ms. Blazer and seconded from Mr. Dawson. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, like sign. B, in the matter of accepting the following quarterly reports: Juvenile Court, General Sessions Court, and the County Clerk's Office. Do I have a motion to accept these? A motion from Commissioner Wright, do I have a second? Second from Commissioner Gill. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, like sign. That motion carries. C, in the matter of any committee reports, budget.
The Budget Committee recommends the approval of the attached transfers and amendments for the county, Wilson Sheriff's Office, and EMA.
All right, do I have a motion to accept these? I have a motion from Commissioner Gillum, do I have a second? Second from Commissioner Wright. All right, is there any discussion or questions?
All that was just a small place, it wouldn't have.
Yeah, that's it.
Bit of a,
No, that's it this month. Small one.
Any other questions? All right, if not, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Terry Ford. Calvin Ball. Ms. Taylor Blazer. Yes. Clay Blazer.
Yes.
Norman Smith.
Yes.
Terry Dawson.
Yes.
Jonathan Miles. Jeff Esslinger.
Yes.
Dan Wright.
yes.
Casey Gillum.
Yes.
Forrest Clevenger.
Yes.
David Verdall. Kyle Schutay.
Yes.
Gary Carter.
Yes.
The only other thing I have, the Budget Committee recommends the approval of the attached transfers and amendments for the school, and that one is short as well. It's just $35,000 for the
All right, do I have a motion?
Motion
All right, motion from Commissioner Cleveland, do I have a second? Second from Commissioner Esslinger, is there any discussion? All right, if not, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Terry Ford. Calvin Ball. Ms. Taylor Blazer.
Won't pass.
Clay Blazer.
Yes.
Norman Smith.
Yes.
Terry Dawson. Jonathan Miles. Jeff Esslinger.
Yes.
Dan Wright.
yes.
Casey Gillum.
Yes.
Forrest
So that motion carries as well. Nothing else, that's all you know. All right, let's moving on. Number 2, landfill.
I'd like to request Tony, David's first to keep that down.
Yeah.
But if Tony would come and give us an update on the landfill or either send us a report, I don't know if anything else kind of what it's going on.
All right, if not, anything from there, next is general.
We had a general committee meeting. We don't kind of blend it together, but we met and discussed some issues. We had this first call again. We decided that we're going to move forward. We're trying to create the new contract that we're going to put out for bid. We had kind of secretary contact a lot of players in the game, so to speak. If anybody's reached out to Joe, especially, he needs to be involved in this. When we draft this new contract, we want it to be a better version of what we had. And I haven't spoken to Mr. Webb since I've had breakfast with him that morning. They are supposed to be doing a few things with changes at first call. I talked to CJ about getting the work crew up there to help him do some work on the SWAT building. But other than that, we'll just wait. Did we set the meeting for February
Yeah,
3rd?
I was gonna say, there were several, because general and public safety are here together, just for the purposes here, if you want to start writing those down, yeah, public safety is meeting on February 8th and 28th.
The February 8th is just for the individuals that we call
Okay.
to talk, to have their input, and February 28th, Wednesday, I think, right there. February 28th is when we'll need your head, CEOs, whoever's merged in, them to come to that meeting. And the first meeting, we just want everybody to, 15 minutes of everyone, come up with some ideas that might make it better for our county, and that's what it's about, This is our citizens of Cocke County that they're serving, and that we want them to serve in great ways, so, but, yeah. Those are your 2 meetings.
I'd just like to note that I've been in the front of this and got a lot of people call and talk to me. I highly suggest if you've had an issue or something like that, you get with your commissioner of your district and express your concerns. But just know when we're talking about adding more stuff, that means there's probably more money going to have to be paid out of the county to cover it. I'm sure when it comes to safety, people have no problem with that, but I just want people to understand that when we come into these new negotiations and asking for more, it is going to increase the budget for that operation on the county's half. But if you have any positive or negative complaints, get with your commissioner so they can express this at the meetings.
I estimate about 4 cents as a tax on it. It could be an increase. But you don't want to skim on some things.
Commissioner Ledger, if you don't care, I can get with me and
Yes,
just make
ma'am.
sure we have the same list. I know, which I can talk to.
Same thing with, while we're on that one, if you all will, and there should be a notice that will come out that one on February 3rd. That is at the last budget committee meeting, and then at a general, we kind of tossed some ideas around. One of the things that ultimately was decided upon at our most recent budget meeting was that it would just be better if we all kind of let's get the budget committee there, and even though we're calling it general committee, that's going all of you on the county commission, so we can hash out some of this aspect if you have any with the wheel. Right? That's a bigger purpose, because if general has a meeting and then sends it back to budget, and budget has questions and sends it back to general, this could drag on forever. So we're trying to kind of streamline that process just a little bit. Same thing with our public
Do
safety.
we have a date for that yet?
February 3rd.
February 3rd.
6
6,
o'clock,
yeah.
that's
Is
all
there
been changed.
is there a way you can reach out to Kaylee and see if she can be here, because she's still got a lot of data that we collected the last go around with this. May or may not still be valid.
Everything updates every day.
And that was just to kind of keep you Six.
That was your correction, correct?
All right, so do we have anything else out of public safety or general? They kind of work together. All right, if not, do we have anything out of purchasing? No, all right, very good. In the matter of report from the county manager,
I only have one thing, it's from our conversation last month from, the start from the general committee about employee bonuses. Last month, there was a whole, that are not yet all had already voted on it. Patton, did ask for a proposal from Heather, who's still on maternity leave, and myself, but we can appropriate the money, and I'm not going to suggest how much other departments get paid. However, because there was a lot who wanted to do what the city did, I do have the totals for that, that I wanted to share with you all. And if you'll pass those down. If you'll pass those down. This is what the city did, just with a lot, you know, kind of talking about what the city did. They did 6,000, for full-time, 3,000 for part-time. As you know, I've been confined waiting until we got either the portal open or the final rule. Last month when we discussed it, the only ones who were eligible under the interim final rule was medical, emergency services, transportation, and sanitation. Now that we've got the final rule out, all local government employees are considered essential. So this is estimates, and it's estimates only because it'll depend on, you all will need to choose one, if you want to do the 6,000 that the city did, and the 3 for part-time. You'll have to choose the eligibility dates, and they can't start prior to March the 3rd. You can't pay anybody for work done prior to March 3rd, 2020. Then you have to set your end date. You got to choose if you all want to do current, full-time, and part-time only, or if you all want to include people who worked during the time period you set, but are no longer here, whether they retired or were terminated. You have to choose that. This estimate is only current, but it's assuming everybody is eligible for the 6,000 or 3,000 or whatever you choose. And we won't know that until their hours. Say you all say we want to start March 3rd and end December 31st of 2021. If you work that entire time, most likely, especially if you're full-time, you will meet that formula for working the required amount of hours. But if you don't start until December 1st, and your cutoff date is December 31st, you're not getting $6,000 because you didn't work enough hours to justify that. So people still aren't going to get, it's not an across the board thing, you have to have the hours to justify it. And your motion, if y'all do one, would have to include a budget amendment, so we can put those in salary items from the revenue account that it's sitting in. And then I also included helpful websites where they did the webinar for premium pay is on here, and to view the final rule. Also in the final rule, previously under the interim rule, we did not qualify for revenue loss. So we could only utilize the buckets for like the broadband and resources. You know, we didn't do anything for roads and various other things. Under this new final rule, we can. So when we talked in our last workshop, we talked about whenever we got these final rules or the portal open, having additional workshops to do a spending plan, and I would recommend that we do that as soon as you all want to, because everything that we've been going by has changed. Still, you know, it's $6.9 million. This is 1.7 of it. You've already dedicated some to a project that didn't have a monetary amount in the December minutes. I didn't show a monetary amount, but it was for the new industrial park. And keep in mind also, we only have our first draw, which is only half. You can only spend until we get our next half in the summer, whatever half 6.9 is, the 3 months number. So And also, whenever we can't do any raises until this full CLB votes on it, or the premium pay, we can't do any of the premium pay until the full CLB votes on it. And I did want to say to you all, there's a lot of county employees here, it is not a quick turnaround. If you voted on it today, we can't have them out by Monday. We've got one payroll person and one archive person. You're looking at 300 plus employees that we have to pull every timesheet for, look at their hours for the amount that you all say, copy those, and have them ready to be audited, and proof that they actually work these hours. So it'll be a priority, a top priority, but it's not gonna be quick or immediate.
So again, how much money do we have coming in, 6 point, you say 6?
6.9.
And we have half of it now, we'll get the other half when what is considered summer.
In May, 1st of June, somewhere right in there.
I spoke with Clay earlier. We do have some projects that we're kind of dependent on this money for. One would be the sewer expansion. That was going to be an estimated $3 million. We've got the planned building for the election committee. Did anybody get a number on that, kind of a rough number?
I think he got the number for what Jeff County's planning to do.
Was that around $1 million?
I think so.
All right, that's gonna be $1 million. That's $4 million. So that leaves us $5,742,000, if we did this. So we would still have $1.4 million left, roughly. And I talked with Jeff earlier about this. We do have a lot of money that we're going to earmark for nonprofits, and I'm all for that. But I know we need to take care of these things, including the employee bonuses, first. And then we can give the money to nonprofits, what we've got left. That's just my personal feeling. I think we need to take care of our own in-house and take care of our needs. And what's left, we can't bless the nonprofits.
I will also say that this should not go in, unless you all want to pay people who have retired or been fired that work in that time, it shouldn't be any more than that, because this is based on current employees. It can be less, but it shouldn't be more unless y'all decide to pay the people that's on here. What's that?
Why, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I hate my hand up.
Sorry.
You should have seen that.
What is the hours? You said there was, they had to work so many hours. So
It-
possibly there could be part-time employees that wouldn't qualify,
Yes.
is what you're telling me?
And I'll use the rec center. Say you're considered a part-time employee, but you only come when they have ball games.
Right.
You may not meet the hours required, and it'll depend on the amount. The higher the amount is, the more hours they're going to have to work.
Okay, so at, just give me a figure, I mean, 20, 50, whatever.
No.
However many hours.
Let's see.
I mean, because
So you go with the 3,000.
the best we could do is we're gonna leave some out, I mean.
I don't understand why somebody getting fired or leaving would be.
Well, I can see a fire person, yes.
Mr. Chairman, I
I
wonder,
mean, they
are we
did
going to have a
something to
meeting
get
about
fired.
this?
Well, I think we're gonna have like a workshop meeting on it, but I will say, I think
I mean,
that,
where do you go? Where do you
Heather
go?
Rock, hold on. I think that we are gonna have a meeting on this. However, I know that there's been a lot of pressure for, like, this is something that I think that, Heather kind of prepped up for us to bring tonight, so that if we wanted to vote on something, that we would be able to do that. I mean, to kind of go ahead and do that. Just keep in mind that, like what Forrest just said, if you vote on this the way that it works here, with what we already have committed, like that, just
We don't
that,
have any more.
what, yeah, I mean, yeah, there is no more, which is part of why we've had to hold off on this even as it was. I mean, and I'll just use that, like, because I know I've had several county employees who've asked about that, like from the part of the city. When we just look at our fund balance in comparison to the city, they probably have the same fund balance we do with the budget that's nowhere near as large as ours is.
Gary, do you have any idea off the top of your head how much the city spent on that 6,000 total for every month?
What do you
Their
mean?
budget, how much did it cost them? We're looking at 1.7 million.
Oh, a couple $100,000. Yeah, it's a
a different ballpark.
That's where the difference is. And when people start comparing what the city did, you know, we've got a lot more employees,
600,000.
a lot more. You know, we're looking at 1,000,001 if we do the same
We
thing.
also got a lot more
More
money
than
than
they
them
did.
too.
Yeah.
We also got a lot more money than the city too.
Well, we had to spread it out.
To answer your question, to get the full, if y'all voted for 3,000 for part-time, like on this, they would have to work 231 hours in the eligible time. So say they didn't work the 231 hours, it doesn't mean they don't get anything. So they worked 100 hours at $1,300. At $13 an hour, they would get $1,300 less your taxes and things like that, because taxes, your, retirement, but that all would come out.
And I'll say this too, which muddies the water slightly as well. I mean, you know, there's a variety of different things that can come in there. But last week, whenever I had a conversation with Heather, and I mean, I hope you don't mind that I share this, one of the things that she was talking about, where our employees fall, a lot of them, let's just say between $26,000 to $30,000 pay range. I mean, that's a lot of them. If we give them a bonus of $6,000, which was something I hadn't thought about, that potentially can push them into a different tax bracket. And so while we're giving them money now, it seems that it's in their pocket, one of those concerns is, are they gonna be kind of cursing us next year when they're filing their income taxes and they lose it, and they're the income tax credit, or, I mean, again, I'm just, these are, and that's almost gonna have to be a case-by-case basis, but I thought that was something else that, for me personally, as we were talking about that, I mean, I'm ready to do whatever you guys want to do tonight, I mean, I think.
It's true that we'll put them in a different tax bracket, but generally, that's, you're gonna have to be making a lot more money. The majority of people make $25,000 to $38,000 a year. We do have some employees, very few, that make over $48,000. Those are the ones that would, it may put them in another tax bracket. But when you're dealing in that low a number, it's not gonna affect it that bad.
Yeah.
Well,
It's not gonna.
but again, I just think that's something else that a lot of our employees need to be aware of, that could throw them off.
I mean, I've done a little crunching here too. I mean, it's just, if we went with 4,000 and 2,000, it would be around 1.1 million. And that would give us a pretty good buffer on where we're at with what we're going to need for these projects. I think. Because, I mean, Heather knows we're looking at 3 and then, one, and then, what was the other one we were looking at? That would be 5 million right there, and that would leave us a little bit for the nonprofits, about $1 million for the nonprofits or whatever, and that'd leave another $1 million.
The county employees just need to realize that this money wasn't sent just to pay county. This money was sent to do jobs, to take care of things that may got neglected or went under while we was on COVID. This just ain't a bunch of money that's supposed to be handed out to people. I mean, it's not, but, I don't understand why somebody, I have one question. I don't understand why somebody who terminated or quit would qualify for, in no job anywhere, do you qualify for anything if you're terminated or quit a job.
No, we just wanted to throw it out there.
Okay.
Some counties are paying people who retire but work during that time frame. Some counties are not giving bonuses at all, some are giving more, some are giving less.
If we did do this with, that last number I gave you, we would have a couple $1 million left, and there was something that we had talked about earlier when you totally, not went back to it, was for asphalt, for paving. I mean, it'd be nice if we have $1 million left over, let's put it on the roads for the
I
people.
thought it said it could be used.
Now that they've changed
It should be now.
down the final rule,
Okay,
you can use it for
Anybody.
anything you want to use it for.
But
Like,
those
they
last
told us to
month,
wait all this time, we can't use this money that we've wasted.
it's just
like
been very
that.
frustrating, because last month, as an example, that was not the case. Like, whenever we were here last, there were way more strings attached, and
Yeah.
it's almost as if, I guess, if people were bombarding them with things, that finally the state's just like, just do it.
How much is school employees get?
We got,
2,500.
no, teachers got like certified got 3, assistants got 2,500, part-time got 1,000.
Okay. Yes, yes.
Can we not vote to move ahead with some of the monies for the, like the sewer
I think that's right.
and I mean, like, even if we want to make a decision on the adding the paving or stuff like that, can't we make that decision and get that ball rolling?
Well, the sewer project is kind of on, it's on its way, like,
So we, I mean, but we have said, hey, no matter what, that's going to that, and we can
You
go
all can vote on anything.
That's
you
what
want
I-
to,
that's what I'm
but you
asking.
don't have $6.9 million
to do,
right now.
that's what I'm saying, you gotta vote for like a
But
3 point.
The ideal thing would be, you know, if you wanna do, you've already done a small project up to the industrial park. Do your employee bonuses, because that's been a big priority, and you all really wanted to get that out. Then meet, get a workshop, and get your spending plan.
That's what I'm asking.
Submit that spending plan, make sure, well, now that it's wide open, it'll be fine, but we'll still make sure, because there's certain things that's just gonna automatically fly in audit. It's just going to. So making sure that we run it through that portal, your full spending plan, what you've already spent, and what you intend to spend. And then you're not just, well, how much do we spend on that? Can we spend this on this? And then we've got the nonprofits, however much you all want to give them, just because they asked for $100,000, and I don't know that anybody did, doesn't mean you have to give $100,000. You may want to give something even across the board, and it's less. I think like right now, what came in was about $1 million. It was about $1 million. We only said we might do $700,000. We've got requests for $1 million. So,
There's gonna be more requests coming out, so.
long, that day's got off. But it's glad I missed the deadline.
So I think that whenever Heather brought this, I know that there had been some discussion, what I'm understanding here is just, do we want to, like, I think we're, like, if I'm understanding, we're kind of prepped that we could go ahead and get this ball rolling, moving forward. I know we still don't have an overreaching plan, which becomes, you know, a little dangerous to start working at it again. What's the plan?
Are we all, okay, so are we all in agreement that we do, I think, yes, we are in agreement that we want to pay them something. Should the department heads not bring you and Heather something that's got all their employees, what they work, I mean, have all that ready,
We have all their time sheets.
you know?
For everybody. We will pull all those, we order folders and boxes and everything, so we can put these in. Because our audit, the state audit is gonna audit to make sure that people did actually work the hours that we paid on the premium pay for. So we will all that. If you're saying, do you wanna ask the department heads how much? Cause I'm gonna say I want mine at $25,000, that's most.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
No, I'm
That
not.
would put us over what we've got. But they're gonna tell you, any department head's gonna tell you, they're gonna want the most you can give for their employees, because they're low paid, they don't have our card.
Well, I'm just worried that we're a little bit out of our lane right now. Like, for us to decide that we're gonna do this blanket thing for everybody, which I don't feel like, I mean, I'm sure everybody would like as much as they can get. I'm not done, but like, I think like there should be something from each of them, because they're the ones that manage all that, had to manage it through the crisis. Like, some of them may feel like this isn't enough, some may feel like, no, we'll take half that. I know they're all gonna say they will, what,
I think we're prolonging it, but yeah, I think you're gonna find that they're gonna say that.
Who's gonna say their employees deserve less money?
How many departments have, like, I'm just speaking for my department, we have no part-time, how many departments do we have part-time?
There is about,
I mean,
One-
just roughly, just
okay, see,
roughly.
one big department is your sanitation.
Sanitation, I think sanitation probably
That's the
sure.
biggest
That's
part.
the biggest one.
Is the convenience center people, they're considered part-time, or or do we
They're-
have full-time on those?
Okay,
No, they're considered smart.
the info that we gave you was based on some data from 84, and it was 223 full-time and 61 part-time, and then 73 pocket share. On January 4th, we went from 223 full-time to 212 full-time and 59 part-time, as opposed to 61 part-time. So it's gonna fluctuate,
Okay.
just in that time frame.
The majority are in the landfill, and like sheriff's department has maybe half a dozen, or you've got a couple of departments that have one or two,
Okay.
so it's just kind of across the board, but
Okay, I was just
your
trying,
majority is probably
We
in
have,
sanitation.
we have specific dates that we have to go by, and that was when the pandemic was declared. and the pandemic
March.
was lifted.
March started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it go prior to March 3rd.
Our-
2020.
2020,
I'm
Yes.
gonna step out here on limb, and I'll make a motion.
I gave a sample motion.
Okay.
I left it blank so you all can fill it in.
one more thing before you do that. What are we
county
That's what they
portion.
pay.
It's gonna,
No, we.
The county has to pay for it too, that's what we pay.
yeah.
There'll be, that much will be deducted.
And then we have to do the retirement for the regular employees, that's another thing, we've got to separate
Okay,
the
it's not,
emergency.
okay, so that's the
clauses.
percentage the county pays there for the employee, got it,
Yeah.
okay.
We also
It-
have to pull out the retirement because just regular,
Yeah,
we pay more for emergency because they have to.
I was good on that, I couldn't
leave
figure out
office
that, I didn't know what,
Work early.
I don't know what percentage the county pays, because that's, I don't dabble in that witchcraft, but I couldn't come up with that number.
Okay, since we have a sample motion, I'll try to make it this way. I'd like to make a motion that we pay the premium of $4,000 for workers who interact with the public through COVID-19, up to $2,000 for part-time workers. And we perform workers not to exceed $13 per hour, perform from specified dates that we just discussed. What were they?
Well, you can go from March of 2020 till December 2020, you can go from March 2020 to December 2021. It can
Let's
be
do March 20 till December 2021.
December 31st.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also I'd like to add to this, that in this motion, that if by the time we get all the money in, if there's any more money left, if there's any extra, we'll revisit this. Not that necessarily we'll give anything, but we will revisit.
Is it current, all current employees, not?
All current and retired, even retired, who have retired.
But you had to also be fired.
No.
No fire.
I think if you pay the way the state, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, they said if you do it for one previous employer, you do it for all. If we do it now.
Well, this scratch the retirement, scratch the fire.
Like, I think that,
You want to
we
reduce it,
I was wrong about that, it was 25 to, I just wanted to, just put it back.
Okay, let's see if we get this hammered out, where I get them a second possible.
Will you guys say it one more time?
Go ahead, we're just crafting the motion.
Yeah, I know, I get it, I just feel like we're bad at early in here. On it,
We're doing what?
we're out of early, like this is, we should just approve your proposal. We're making, we're crafting it now.
It's up to us to come up with it. It is our job.
But no, but I'm saying the proposal comes in with the amounts already pre-written in. That way we know. I'm good with it, I'm just, I don't like it.
So you might deal with that pressure was there.
All right, so let me understand. The motion that you provided is that there would be, so that they're, are we all finished? Got it.
Sorry,
Hold on, just so I can make sure, so we can move forward, you don't waste too much more time. All right, workers who interact with members of the public in the COVID-19 pandemic, up to $4,000 for full-time employees, $2,000 for part-time eligible workers, not to exceed $13 for work performed from March of 2020, but that's
March 3rd.
March 3rd, but I did not hear a,
December 31st, 2021.
okay.
And this motion includes a budget amendment.
And what she said.
And this motion includes a budget amendment from the dedicated line item when the ARPA funds are located to the various payroll funds in which they will be paid. That way we don't have to come back and do a budget amendment.
Okay. All right, so that is your motion.
Apparently.
All right, so if you're making that motion, do I have I have a second from Commissioner Sheba. Now, is there any other discussion?
Could Heather tell me if I'm wrong? Could you just make sure I was right on that? There's going to be like a million, what's the word, many. There's going to be around $1 million one. Actually, just a guess.
All right, is there any other discussion?
Just to clarify, the school system employees got 2,500 and the part-time got how much?
2,000.
Well, no,
No,
it's
part-time about 1,000.
it's 25,
Two,
2,
and
and then 1,000. So your part-time there got, $1,000, and then your non-certified.
Got 2,000.
And we don't,
I had to, I took that back, I had to make sure.
All right, do I have any other?
No, that was for 1 year, right?
Yes.
This is two.
With that being said, we will have a roll call vote, please.
Eric Ford, Calvin Powell, Skylar Blazer,
yeah.
Blake Blazer,
Yes.
Norman Smith,
No.
Terry Dawson,
Yes.
John Miles, Jeff Esslinger,
Yes.
Dan Brock, Dan,
Mr.
I'm sorry.
Dan,
Mr. Wright, what's your vote?
Yeah.
Commissioner Gillum,
Yes.
Commissioner Clevenger,
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Shuhei.
Yes.
Mr. Carver.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good, okay.
So that motion carries. So that should give, Heather, that is something to work on. All right, anything else? Mayor?
again, just know that it is not an immediate turnaround. It's a priority, we'll get as quick as we can, but we gotta do it the right way to make sure that we don't have to pay back. So when do you get, give y'all a raise, and then turn around and raise your taxes, because we gotta pay back.
All right, so with that all,
That's all I got.
thank you.
Thank you to everyone who's worked on this. This has been a headache for a lot of people.
Moving on.
I'll take that back, I thought I was done. I really strongly, especially if we're moving in the ways of a workshop, these are gonna be, this top one, you will find a webinar for everything under the interval that you could use money for. This bottom one is for your final rule, that, for the new one. How you report, what all you can use it for, everything. So you may wanna look at those, since we're fixing to go down that road pretty hard.
All right. In a matter of report from the county attorney. All right, nothing there. In a matter of report from the county commissioners. All right, if not, in a matter of report from the Scott County Park. Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
We talked about the council meeting and stuff, and we had nonprofits, different ones submit things, and you were saying things that was committed. We've not voted on that. And if I understood the matter, what you said a while ago, that the deadline was over. Can we not revisit that if we have some problems and things? Because some of it's asked for excessive amounts, some of it's not matched, some of it's was scared they even, how are we going to handle this?
I don't know specifically, because I mean, there are, some other things. I think that in all honesty, whenever we get together and work on this spending plan, I think that's something we address it, so that we figure out.
So that's one of the concerns that's been brought to my attention.
Right.
I don't think anything's been decided yet, just.
Yeah, no, they've not
suggestions.
We've not even had a workshop to review the
Now, if you'll
application.
recall, all we did in our original COVID workshop was we sort of broke down and we said, these were some rough estimates. Like we did, we committed some money for economic development for sewer projects, you know, those two bigger sewer projects. And now we have committed money for, this employee, for this, you know, part of the employee bonuses. Everything else has only been like, these are suggestions. Like, and for that particular matter, we put that out there, but we never said, like, we've never allocated that $700,000 was going to nonprofits. That's just kind of what we talked about. So until we vote to do that, I mean, so I think that's why whenever we're developing the spending plan, we can go back and we can really kind of hone in on what we want to, how we want to
Well, that
address
was
it.
some of the questions that have been asked me.
Right.
You know, that way it clarifies it.
So far, this is the only money that's been.
Right.
Period. Others just off.
Because at this point, I mean, for lack of any, for a better way of putting it, till this month, and the state said you can spend the money however you want to, there's been so many strings attached that we've really been very, very careful, because we don't have that money to pay back yet.
Aren't we technically part-time employees up there on the CLB? Just curious.
And under the interim role, if it's highly elected or appointed, under this, you can.
Oh, plenty of places we're trying it too, trust me.
All right, are there anybody else from the county commission? All right, then let's move on, and may I report from the Cocke County Partnership that Cocke is enclosed, but I know Lucas is here, if anybody has any questions for him, or you have anything to say?
I'll just remind everyone that if you didn't see the announcement, that we've got a, public workshop, well, it's a public meeting for public stakeholder meeting on this Friday from 4 to 7 about the, ARC Bike Trails project. And that will be, at the Tanner Building, and there will be a portal for,
When, I'm sorry, when did you say that was, Lucas?
Friday from 4 to 7.
Thank you.
We're at it,
Tanner Building.
All right,
make sure Gil gets the notice.
Can you update us, Lucas, about anything going to last month and you weren't here and about the Conaga, anything going on there?
Okay, yeah, so, Albany did come in for a site visit, that was week before. It was right when everything, all the weather got bad, but anyway, site visit went really good. Company came in, we did a walkthrough, several state folks were here with us that day, department heads came in to help with that, that tour and, help them make a decision on that. They had all great remarks. Now they're trying to wrap up some, lease negotiations, I guess, right now with the, with Phoenix investors who own the purchase contract from Conaga.
So, can you think you may know anything about that?
I talked to the COO about 4 o'clock today, so, he's trying to work out some financing, questions right this minute, and that's internally they're going over, but, I think all looks well at the moment.
So what's the timeline? I mean, when do you think you'll have something? I mean,
I wish I could tell you. They're hopeful to be up and operational within, I guess, hopefully by second quarter this year, 22, so, sometime between now and Sunday, we'll know, I hope it'll be a lot quicker than that. But, I don't have anything to sign. So sign a lease agreement or whatever, intent for a lease. Is when we're gonna take it from there. That being said, there are more prospects now. We have 3, including all looking at the Broadway campus, and there are 12 looking at the schools. And then 6 sites down there.
Lucas, how close are we, going back to your bike trail, how close are we to start to break ground on that? I know you still got some meetings and stuff, but do you have any kind of, I mean, what would we like? How about that?
You're asking a complicated question.
Okay. I love it when I do that.
Yeah, so in high level, we've got to go through, we're in what's called the pre-scoping stage right this minute. And this is, I'm referring to NEPA process for the environmental review process before we can go to the. Okay, so we're in pre-scoping before we can go into scoping, which is, starts the NEPA process, and the NEPA process is 8 to 12 months, depending on what time of year it is. No longer than 12 months, but that's general time frame. It really depends if, we had pretty good, I don't know how long we could stay on the meeting last week. But in general, it's what we had pretty good consensus about from the trail designers and the endless order we talked about, what these trails are going to replace, et cetera, so.
They're working the same things as they do those studies. They're going ahead and looking at designs and having options and doing all the other requirements like the public meetings and everything. So it's about as expedited as it can possibly be working with the federal government.
Yes, there's nothing fast like federal government.
Yeah, I would know that.
It's awful.
There's so many moving parts in this thing, Casey. I mean, I thought we're doing pretty good than where we're at right now.
I just had people asking me if we thought
body that can be working on it is doing their part.
That's it. I mean, this isn't every week. I mean, it, multiple days a week type deal, working on that. And, but the gist of it is that when there's no user group conflicts, basically, so if we have general consensus, then the Forest Service will feel confident to release us for scoping, and then we can begin the formal NEPA process. And then after NEPA's over, then we can start breaking ground. We still got a ways out, but in all reality, we're not behind schedule that much.
Okay.
Thank you, Luke.
I got a question for Luke. There was more money appropriated in this year's budget for advertising, for economic development. Where was that money, how was that money spent, and what format was it used to advertise?
That money has not been spent yet until we go into the marketing cycle for the next marketing season. It'd be wasting money if we spend it here.
But do you already have a plan in place?
We are fairly far along on a plan right now, and it's a combination of marketing content, social media boost, a lot of digital media outreach for that, and then taking that content. But we've got some software that shows us where the tickets, when someone's swiping a credit card and buying a ticket where they reside, we look at the clusters, and we can boost marketing campaigns to those different zip codes.
Okay.
The state's been geofencing for them. We had an outdoor, the rural outdoor task force came, and Lucas was using them to geofence the county to see where people are going, how long they're staying there, what they're doing there. In fact, a lot of people who were spending time here were from Louisiana, and that was kind of, I was like, what, who's gonna, normally, that was probably a lot of our folks were coming from there, which kind of shocks me. So that's kind of giving them an idea of where they might be able to market. So we were waiting, I know Lucas said they're getting their plan. That's part of what they're kind of waiting on, when we talked once before about that, getting that geofencing and seeing where everybody's, what they're doing while they're here, and how long they're staying, and how we can stay longer.
And Norm, just to be, I just want to be perfectly clear, this, it's not been a stall, we've not once been that, we're doing it, we're waiting for the campaign season to start. Start to go out those when people are starting to book their.
Anything else from Luke? All right, if not, let's move on. A matter of report from First Call Ambulance Service, that copy was enclosed. A matter of report from Cocke County Beautiful, that copy was enclosed, as well as report from the Green Shelter. And a matter of report from the County Corrections Partnership, I think we're still on hold with that.
Yeah, I guess the next move will be after the joint budget / finance committee meeting.
Very good. Moving on, property tax refund. The matter of approving the following property tax refund, Isaiah 117 Properties LLC for $790. Do I have a motion to accept that? A motion from Commissioner Gillum. Do I have a second? Seconded from Ms. Blazer. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, let's have a roll call vote, please.
Calvin Ball, Ms. Carol Blazer,
Yes.
Clay Blazer,
Yes.
Norman Smith,
Yes.
Terry Dawson,
Yes.
Jonathan Miles, Jeff Esslinger,
Yes.
Dan Bryant,
Yes.
Casey Gillum,
Yes.
Forrest Clevenger,
Yes.
David Fairdown, Kyle Schulte,
Yes.
Gary Carter.
Yes.
So that motion carries. Moving on to new business, in the matter of a proposed lease for the election commission early voting site, other election commission usage for 2022. And that copy is enclosed. I know Josh is back there.
Motion to accept.
All right, so Commissioner Clifton makes a motion to accept. Do I have a second? Second from Commissioner Gillum. Is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, let's have a roll call vote, please.
Barry Ford, Calvin Ball, Ms. Carol Blazer,
Yes.
Clay Blazer,
Yes.
Norman Smith,
Yes.
Terry Dawson,
Yes.
Jonathan Miles, Jeff Esslinger,
Yes.
Dan Bryant,
Yes.
Casey Gillum,
Yes.
Forrest Lavender.
Yes.
David Fairwell. Kyle Schulte.
Yes.
Gary Parker.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Oh,
So that motion carries. All right, B, in the matter of revoting on the amended contract with Smoky Mountain Secret Series.
That was basically, he was kind of feeling the pressure of the COVID slowed him up, and he was kind of saying, hey, if you guys want your 5,000, I think it was 5,000 or 2,500. 5,000, and I think everybody just misunderstood. I just wanted to make sure that they misunderstood, because there's no sense in taking this 5,000 back. I mean, he's using this. I don't know if anybody else has followed it on Facebook and stuff. I mean, he got caught up in COVID. He was just saying, you know, the COVID, it hit us and it kind of slowed some things down. But if you want your money back, yeah, you can. We all just hid it and voted it and took it. I don't see this.
Yeah, Heather trick.
And if we want to, I would just like to revote, maybe try to give it back. Then if people don't want to give it back, then that's fine. I just think it was a misunderstanding of what he was saying. He's doing, I don't know how many people's caught any of the stuff he's doing. It's really good. And I mean, it's money well spent. We spend a lot more for advertising than what we are spending, so.
and he has great plans for the raccoons.
Yes,
For
I
both
mean,
of them.
He was gonna do 10 anyway, Rod, am I right about that 10?
Yeah, I think he was
And if he's doing those 10, I don't think we need to do that. I mean, and I looked at those, and they're pretty good. I thought he done a really good job on them, so.
I make the motion that we give him the money, but I think it's worded right. I'm not making any
Well,
motion.
I'll word it.
But, make a
So you wanna
motion to reinstate the money back to him and, let him do his work.
So we have a motion to reinstate that particular money, and then we have a second from Commissioner Clevenger. All right, is there any discussion? All right, now have a roll call vote, please.
Barry Ford, absent, Calvin Ball, absent, Ms. Taylor Blazer,
Yes.
Clay Blazer,
Yes.
Norman Smith,
Yes.
Terry Dawson,
Yes.
Jonathan Laws, Jeff Essling,
Yes.
Dan Bryant, Casey Gillum,
Yes.
Forrest Lavender.
Yes.
David Fairwell is absent, Kyle Schulte,
Yes.
Gary Parker.
Yes.
All right, so that motion carries. See, we've already done that.
Take care of that, but apparently there's no, well, I would like to make a motion that we put a photograph of David Bird, all the checks that we send out to county employees. They get the honorary David Bird.
Everybody second that.
All right, very good. Moving on, D, in the matter of Roxanne Hanson addressing the board regarding an issue with the mall and his rock quarry.
Thank you for allowing me to address the board tonight. My name is Roxanne Hanson. I live adjacent to land being cleared for a rock quarry operation on Clear Creek Road. I'm here to express my concerns as a county resident regarding the impact on surrounding properties and the community as a whole. The quarry will not only affect those of us in this community financially, but it will also have a great impact on our health, our safety, and our enjoyment. First of all, property values can decrease up to 30% when you are next to a quarry. My family owns several acres with 3 homes on it, and this is approximately a $100,000 loss for my family alone. And we are only one property. There are approximately 100 residences within a 1-mile radius of the planned quarry. The quarry owner plans on using a rock crusher within a few hundred feet of our homes. Not only will the excessive noise take away from the enjoyment of our property, the silica dust produced can cause major health problems. This quarry owner has another quarry within Cocke County The TDEC website lists many complaints from its neighboring properties about excessive dust. The quarry owner also plans on blasting rock within a few hundred feet of our homes. There are many sinkholes and natural springs that border our properties. Countless studies show that blasting can impact aquifers and cause wells to be contaminated and even collapse. This is a serious concern for us in the neighboring community. There are also concerns about potential injury and damage from fly rock due to the blasting. We are aware of at least 2 incidents from this owner's other quarry where fly rock has gone directly through homes. These negative effects alone on nearby residents should concern the board members. Our experiences so far with this quarry owner has shown that he has no accountability or regard for neighboring properties. I've personally had to file a police report pertaining to employees making threats to our property while preliminary clearing was happening in the fall of 2017. During this time, they were bulldozing trees over our property line and damaging many of our own trees. We also had to contact the forestry department to report the very large fires they were leaving unattended. They were required to cut them into more manageable burn piles. This is when I overheard employees threatening to drop a boulder on our house or use a stick of dynamite. Around the first of this year, they began clearing land again. Their fires are now even bigger than previous burns. They have not been acquiring burn permits, and the fires are left unattended daily. We were forced to call the fire department on Saturday the 15th. According to the responders, there were 2 fires left unattended. One fire measured 50 foot by 50 foot. This fire was in a location that responders said trucks could not access. They also stated if every fire unit in the county responded, they would not be able to extinguish it. And we were informed to call them back if it began to spread, at which time they would call the forestry department for assistance. I have contacted multiple state departments, including TDEC, MSHA, and the fire marshal, and there is little protection from these agencies for neighboring properties. There also appears to be a lack of enforcement for regulations at a state level. On TDEC's website, under past inspections of the quarry owner's other properties, there are 7 listed. 6 of them are out of compliance, and a 7th was for a closed operation. This shows the owner has no intention of using proper procedures and practices and has blatant disregard of permits and regulations. I believe this falls on the responsibility of the county to enact enforceable protections for its residents. This community should not have to endure property value loss, potential damage, the pollution of our air and water, and the constant excessive noise produced by a private business. I appreciate you guys listening to me. If you want to ask me any questions.
Where did you get a map that shows the airport?
I know, that's
Okay, all right. He's got some system, I don't know, it's kind of new.
Is that, yeah, I never knew there was an airport right there, right there. There must be a private airport
Yeah.
of some sort, yeah.
Anybody else got any questions?
Well, I've spoken to her several times, she's been in contact with me, and I put it on the agenda. And I made it clear, I mean, there's really nothing that we can do because we don't have any zoning or ordinances set up. You know, that's something maybe we need to look at in the future as far as land usage for commercial use near our populated residents. I'm not sure, you know, how it is when we start talking about zoning around here, because of Lady D, this, you know, it won't take traction, but I think we do need to sit down and have that conversation.
Yeah, and I think that would probably best be dealt with like in a meeting, just rather than like in the front of the full body, and I know what was wrong. But, yeah, I mean, we had the same issue with whether it's that or whether it's like a change, you know, there's been a variety of instances where people who are like property owners, somebody's doing something in beside of them, and not even, like I think the things that most of us would want, you know, necessarily, you know, right beside of our particular homes or whatever else that we were looking at. But you're absolutely right. I mean, there has not been any movement or desire to kind of, you know, for any kind of zoning era or whatever else. So I mean, I think that that's something.
The only thing in person I'd like to see is to be able to regulate it for industrial and commercial use of residential areas. You know, if you get back there to Holler somewhere, your nearest neighbor's 2 or 3 miles away, not the cell tower. So if you're in an area that's very densely populated, you've got houses every so often. Even in subdivisions, people say that in subdivisions you have deed restrictions. Well, that's true, but then it's on you to hire an attorney and to file lawsuits. You're out tens of thousands of dollars. Maybe you don't have divorce. You know, like to say like the Green Acres subdivision, if everybody lives there and wants to agree to be zoned as residential only, and they all agree to zone it. If you're in an area like this lady lives, and everybody in that area agrees, let's zone this area as residential only, then I think we should start maybe having that conversation.
Well, one of those things I was gonna say, if it's all right with you all, on the 3rd of February, we've already scheduled, you know, our, that general meeting, we're gonna talk about that. Do we, I mean, is this another, we want it, now, and that's totally up to the board, y'all want to discuss this then?
Well, let's do wheel tax and zoning at the same night. The zoning is shot. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean,
We're trying to-
I'm pretty
We're
sure
getting the sheriff's
that I thought,
department.
not that, I mean, a while back, we were having some other issues. And with that, as far as acreage wise, if it's over 5 acres, that has to go through the planning commission, does it not? And if I'm not mistaken, the guy over the planning commission told me any building, anything like that had to go through the planning commission. Is that wrong?
That's wrong.
It depends on if they're subdividing it. He's not subdividing it.
So
But
it's
now,
not-
you should have,
so
if
it's-
he's clear cutting, you should have if it's over an acre, you should have a permit to clear cut that with TDEC. There should be checking on his erosion control and various things like that.
So is that being done, is what I'm asking, I mean, is that, I don't know, I'm just.
I can check with TDEC.
I know he does have some permits through CDEC, but,
I have permits in place for clearing and erosion control and a crushing permit already in place. It was in place when you bought the property.
when I bought the property, there was a sign at the entrance, and it was face down,
But that's
And-
because the sign has been
not down or whatever.
knocked down. But I've had permits since 14, I can't remember. It might have been 16, but I've had permits before you bought the property. It was already permitted. And I had my road built in and everything was in place.
That is true that you did have some permits.
I had all the permits in place.
Okay, I think we're gonna have to, let's just come back to this like at a committee meeting, because this is just not necessarily.
Can we set it some other day than the 3rd?
We can do that, I mean, like, we can
Let's
do
do
that.
that. We still got those shields.
Well,
No, it ain't that.
and I don't know if that's, we're gonna go with, yeah, I'll tell you what, we'll look at that for another, if that's something that we'll let you know, and we'll also let you know. All right. All right, with that being said, number 6 miscellaneous, does anybody have anything else that's left?
I move adjourned,
All right, we have a